Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Aslan Ojavandi, joined by the brain trust of Warchant.com, founder administrator Gene Williams, senior writer Corey Clark, and I'm saving the best for last this time, Irish O'Fell, managing editor. Cheers, everybody. Welcome into Friday.
Cheers.
Football is here. It's football season. Preseason began today with practice. We spoke to numerous players and Coach Norvell and all the coordinators yesterday. I'll begin with you, Ira, since I introduced you last. We spoke to Mike Norvell today, a couple players. What were some of your key takeaways, I guess, of what was said?
One of the things I thought was interesting is, we're still getting to know, what, the hidden meetings and what he says. I mean, when you cover a coaching staff like Jimbo, we kind of knew if he said this, that really meant this. A lot of times the coaches won't exactly say what they mean. And, with Willie, I don't know. I don't know if we ever got a great feel for it, but with Norvell, I feel like I'm starting to get a feel for Norvell. Like today, he was asked 2 or 3 different times, kind of affirmatively, about if he was impressed with what kind of shape the players are in, and he deflected every time. I mean, he basically said he was pleased with the effort, or that he knew they worked. But he would come back and say, we've got a long way to go. He even said, we got a long way to go to where we should be at this point. So that's not a knock on the players. It's just a statement of, I think it's a recollection or reflection on all that they missed, not just not having spring football. Half the team was in different parts of the state. A lot of guys stayed in Tallahassee, but a lot of guys didn't. I think a lot of guys worked out, but I don't know what kind of overall shape they were in. And then they've been back for a month or so, maybe I guess a couple months going back to the voluntary workouts. But I think it goes to say, how much work needs to be done. And so that was my biggest thing today is I thought you could tell that they're nowhere near where they need to be in terms of conditioning.
What do you think's going on with Aslan's feet?
There's something wrong with this camera. I'm here. Everything's fine and up and running. Just for some reason, it just it glitches out on me every now and then. But I'm here. I'm alive and well. Thank you for showing concern, though, Corey. I do appreciate it.
I was worried, man. I was worried that you were okay. I want to make sure you're okay.
Did you like how I was locked in? I wasn't going to be.
And you were going to keep talking through it. You talking?
I thought that's maybe he does the black camera thing when he's not liking what you're saying. He's trying to shut you out. So I thought
wrap it up.
Yeah.
They're like kidnappers could have come in, taken him out of the building, and I wasn't going to stop talking.
No.
Corey, what about you? Have you been able to decipher Norvellese yet, or is it still too early?
No, not really. I mean, he was vague, intentionally vague, especially yesterday. I thought it was interesting that he I don't know, it wasn't over the top, but he made a point really quickly of talking about Jordan Travis and how well he threw the ball, and even making a reference to we were told when we got here maybe what he couldn't do, and he threw the ball really well. Now, he'd only gotten to see him throw really 2 times because I don't think he threw much in the third practice, the one in pads in spring. So for him to say that, I thought was, an encouraging sign. He also talked, he talked about all of them. It would be weird if he came out and was like, look, Tate Rodemaker's just not very good. He can't cut it. He's not going to say anything about that about one of his players. But he really did talk glowingly about both Jordan Travis and James Blackman, and then also said the 2 freshmen looked good as well. But I thought it was he was asked – Ira asked him a question about Blackman, and he turned it into an answer sort of about Jordan Travis.
What about you, Gene? What were some of the things that stood out to you in the comments that Mike Norvell made on Friday?
Well, as we alluded to, he didn't say a whole lot. So after Ira and Corey pretty much covered everything, I was going to say it did strike me that he proactively brought up the quarterbacks. And James Blackman, I think he said he threw the ball the best he's seen. Now, the sample size was only 3 practices so far, but he was very complimentary to the quarterbacks. And I hate to put water on it. I know the fans don't want to hear this, but, I still think at the end of the day, if I had to lay odds on that first game, I still think Blackman is probably the most likely guy to start. I don't mean to halt the Chuba train. I know that gets people very upset out there, but he spoke glowingly about him, and I know we've talked about it. It was brought up in the thing. He's had 4 different coordinators, 4 different coaches. I mean, he's had to go through a lot here. And you could kind of read between the lines talking to some of the other offensive players, kind of, how he's come different. Again, maybe it's player talk, coach speak, but how much different he looks, how much more focused he is, how the coaches are now getting on him when he makes a mistake was kind of the assumption is the last coaches didn't do a very good job in terms of correcting mistakes. So, I mean, there were some very positive vibes about the quarterbacks, no doubt.
All right. Were you about to say something there, Ira? I don't know if you.
I was just going to say I agree with Gene. Not just because he signs our checks, but I thought there was some overtones about that as well. Corey's right. I mean, he did hype up Jordan Travis, but I thought some of the things they said about James Blackman were very complimentary. And if you think about it, if you think James Blackman might be the guy you need because of the fact he's played 2 years as starting quarterback, if I was them, I'd put everything I could into giving James every chance to prove he can't be the guy. You know, I would pour everything I could into James Blackman, given the fact he's older, he's been on campus for 4 years, he's played so many college football games, and then if he can't do it, he can't do it. But at least you gave yourself every chance before you start looking to these younger guys. So I think maybe we're seeing that, and then we'll see if James responds.
We're going to start taking phone calls here momentarily, but before we do that, just a reminder, if you're not a member of warchant.com, this is the absolute best time to sign up for it. Went on a whole sort of sales pitch on it on the podcast earlier today, but truly, if you're worried about not getting the best deal for Warchant, looking back and like, oh, I could have saved money, you won't if you sign up right now. Norvell 2020 is the promo code. You'll get 25% off an annual membership. You'll get a $25 gift card to Garnet and Gold, which will be a gift code. You can use it no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have the internet and access to garnetandgold.com. And then Gene Williams, the dude, was like, hey, give him 3 free months on top of that. So you won't be able to beat it. Ira's cranking out content. Corey is out there transcribing pretty much like a court reporter, every single thing being said. And Gene's keeping everything afloat with good concepts and ideas for us to keep bringing you folks content. So again, use that promo code Norvell 2020 and take advantage of. And with that,
I feel like I bring more to the website than just being a stenographer. I think I'm more than that.
You don't do anything better than you do that. I mean,
that's a good point.
It's amazing the drop off from you to me in that role. I mean, it's like we're playing different sports. It's
now crazy. I know why I wanted to push to hire you. It's like, you get to do all the transcription.
Wow.
Who's this person that's trying to dethrone Gator Kirk? Oh, they hung up on me.
You hung up on him. Gator Kirk's the only one allowed to call him.
I didn't hang up. Promise
the fix is in.
I did not. The streak's been over, man. DiMaggio's record has been shattered. It happened like a week ago, man. So let's see if this one comes back in. All right, it's the same person, so it's all good. Welcome on in to the warchant.com happy hour. Who's this?
This is L.A. Noel.
L.A. Noel.
L.A. Noel, cheers.
I don't know if you guys read the recap, but last week when we talked for the happy hour, I told you I thought a 10-1 depending upon the schedule. Yep. And I really like the way the schedule sets up this opportunity for Norvell and his staff to tweak as the season goes on.
Okay.
I separated the season into 3 parts. The first 3 games is an open date, the next 3 games is an open date, and then the November Fest. I think opening with Georgia Tech and Samford at home obviously gives Norvell and his staff an opportunity to make sure they have the right guys in the right positions that can win the ball games. The Miami game will be a good test for a first road game. Then he's got a week off, if necessary, to either retool because it didn't go well, or he's got an opportunity to tweak the system and possibly, if they're as good as they look on paper and what we hear, depending upon obviously who the quarterback is, he should have that sorted out after those first 3 weeks of the season. We go down, we upset Miami, or we beat Miami. I don't think it'd be an upset because remember, Miami's lost their top rushing defensive player, haven't they?
They have. So LA, no, you obviously have them beating either Notre Dame or Clemson. Who do you think they're going to knock off? Notre Dame?
Well, we got to get through part 1 first.
Right. Understood.
Part 1 is successful. We beat and they don't have, they make the right decisions coming out, and it's going to take a lot of luck because until they get into live games, you don't know. A lot of people have been talking about Blackman's got the experience. If in that opening game with Georgia Tech, they come out fired up on the first drive and they hit JB twice out of the first 2 downs, unfortunately, he may be shot for the rest of the season.
All right.
Well, if he weathers it, or whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Purdy or Travis, and we have handily we handled Georgia Tech and Samford. Now, as we go to Miami, he'll find out what he's really got, because the first 2 games aren't going to tell you the truth. If we go down, we beat Miami, he tweaks the game, we go to Notre Dame. Why is Notre Dame so untouchable is my question. I saw them 11-2 last year, but I was not impressed with them the whole season.
All right, well, they'll probably not be too impressed with a 6-7 team coming up to their house in week 4, but we'll find out. That the optimism's a good thing. We do appreciate it. Thanks for the call, LA Knowles.
All right.
Go
Thanks,
Knowles.
LA.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's it's like I heard Corey this morning on Wake Up Warchant, doing my morning listening, and Corey was kind of.
Ira, hold that thought.
I'll get back to it.
I mean, you could have gone, dude.
No, I'll wait.
Welcome on into the Warchant.com happy hour. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Memphis Noel from Memphis.
Nice.
Good place.
Got some scoop for us, Memphis Noel?
Not Memphis? Really. It's funny seeing all the FSU Twitter from this side, being that I've lived in Memphis for 20 years, so I knew Norvell from the other side. So it's kind of like seeing it on both ends.
How many games did you make out to the Liberty Bowl to watch the Tigers, man?
Well, having twin young kids, I didn't make it to any, but I graduated from there on my last 2 years in 2007. So I've just been close to the program, having lived here, and that's all they talk about. Memphis is a huge college town. They're not a pro town at all, so that's all they talk about. But I'm originally raised from the panhandle of Florida, so that's why I've been a Florida State fan since '93. I think is one of the first time I saw was the Notre Dame loss.
Very nice. Very nice. What's on your mind?
I put this question on Facebook. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I'm asking either way. I don't get to attend a lot of games, being that I have young ones, but if you had to attend one, watch one on TV, listen to one on the radio, or miss one live, how do you pick between FSU football title game, basketball title game, baseball final game of the World Series, or your favorite NFL team Super Bowl?
If you had to attend one, watch one, listen to one, and miss, my favorite NFL team was in a Super Bowl recently, and I wish I was on the moon when that thing was played. So that would be my choice. I would miss the NFL team Super Bowl. I think you got to be there in person for the football national title. I think that's the one to me where I feel like you got to be there in person. And TV, you can split the other two.
Corey, you've already been there, but I'm looking at this one. What about basketball? I mean, if you could see Florida State playing for a national championship in basketball, you wouldn't want to be there. I've been to all 3 of the football ones. For me personally, if I'm answering. Yeah,
I still think that my answer would be a football national title. Okay. I just think there's a more energy there. It's a lot. It's really corporate at the Final Four. It wouldn't feel that much differently than like an Elite 8 game or an ACC championship game. So in that vein, I think I'd still go FSU. I just think those are just a little more special.
What about specifically though in our roles and the fact that you would be there and you get to see Leonard Hamilton win a national championship?
See Leonard celebrating for a national championship. Come on, I would love to see that.
Yeah. I guess I'd probably, and we get better seats at basketball games. Right there on the floor.
I was assuming you guys would pick Hamilton or baseball because you've seen already the football ones. That's why
I think if Senior was there, that would be it's like with Leonard. It kind of be the same thing with Senior there. I don't know if I'm going to be quite as jazzed with Junior winning as I would have been with Senior, but no offense to him. But I mean, so yeah, for me personally, probably at this stage, I'd say basketball in person, and then probably
football on TV, and then you listen to baseball. You listen to baseball on the radio.
Baseball's better on radio.
Yeah, you listen to Lulu call it. Yep. You get to listen to Lulu call the final out.
I'm taking.
Did everybody miss the Super Bowl? Is that where everybody said what they missed?
Yeah, I went to the Super Bowl. My favorite. I mean, I'm not like a diehard 49ers fan, but the game that I actually went to was the Niners and the Ravens in New Orleans. So I could miss out on this one. I mean, I wasn't even paying attention to this past one against the Chiefs all that much. So I was with a girl. Bad idea. I'd go to the College World Series though, just because with hoops they would probably put me in the rafters, and it's going to be played in a football stadium. So I'd be in Omaha. I'd want to be there and see the dog pile, and you can actually probably hop over the fence and actually run onto the field and film it and record it. And
you could hop on the dog pile.
Yeah, exactly.
What would yours be? You didn't answer.
I'd probably go basketball to be at. speaking of getting on the field after the World Series, probably the coolest environment I've ever covered in like a national at Florida State was the women's World Series when FSU won it a couple years ago, because they let all the players' parents and family members and boyfriends, everybody came out on the field, and it was a celebration like we've never seen. Usually, like at a football national championship or baseball or basketball, the players like they celebrate, then they go to press conferences in the locker room.
Yeah.
But the softball team was out on the field for like an hour just celebrating. It was really cool.
All right, Memphis, no, appreciate the call, man.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Back to my rant. So, but Corey's like just dispelling, North Carolina and Pitt, and is like no challenge. It's like no. Here's what you said.
Don't put words in my mouth because that is incorrect.
You said they're not a gauntlet, and all
they
I'm
aren't
saying
a gauntlet.
is they're not a gauntlet for what Florida State should be as a program. But have you been watching Florida State for the last 2 years?
Hey, man, the whole you can't say this is more of a gauntlet than that. Every game for Florida State is a tough game. So it's not like they're a tough stretch and they're like North Carolina, Pitt, and Louisville.
Pitt, North Carolina, and Louisville in year 2 under Satterfield are going to be tougher than Duke and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but they're middle of the road. Then every game,
this program hasn't beaten middle of the road.
So it's a 9-game gauntlet between Georgia Tech and Duke.
All right, I'm done.
It's an 8-game gauntlet.
I'm done.
Hey,
I just reserve my use for gauntlet for better teams. That's all.
Yeah. What do we think? Anything has changed with the Samford game? With the news about the Big Sky and other FCS conferences opting out until the spring, or would they give them a waiver to be able, as long as FSU is comfortable playing them and they follow protocol? Would they? I mean, is the Samford game, we think, still pretty darn firm in the on the slate?
I haven't heard anything new, so it definitely could be up in the air. I do think Samford would try to, because it's early in the season. If they were allowed to play it, I think they would want to play it because the paycheck is worth more than what all the testing would cost. But yeah, we don't know for sure. If they can't, I would think they'll look at another similar type school. I still don't think they're going to play an FBS school.
But I don't know what division Samford is in. I know what division they're in. I don't know what conference they're in.
Southland? I think they named the Southland.
If they decide they're not going to play football this year, then obviously Samford's not playing.
Yeah.
And even still, their only reason they're playing this game is because of the money. So there might be a few players on that team that are like, well, okay, we're doing this just to keep the lights on. This is great. So it might come to a head with Samford players as well. But they could get a bigger school in Florida if they absolutely had to.
Speaking of that, whoa, geez, good.
Ray.
Look at this. Look at Ray Pereira.
Ray comes through again. Bring the horn out.
What's Ray doing, man? Ray must be like in the pharmaceutical industry with the amount of money he's been throwing around. He's going to be doing all right or something like that. Ray, welcome to the party.
Crazy, Ray.
Cheers. Thanks, buddy.
Ray needs to call in or leave a Facebook post or do something to let us know where he lives, how often he's in Tallahassee, if he ever wants to take us out to dinner.
Corey wants to move in.
Yeah, exactly right. He can come hang at my house.
Man, next round is on you. And shoot, man, next round's on us. So I think we owe you one or two.
Yeah. That's awesome, Ray. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. One Swole Null asking, how does the offensive line look? That was my favorite part of the day today. For me, the highlight was Andrew Baselli. Just what a very earnest, forthright, just honest, no-nonsense young man. What caught my ear, I thought the best sort of soundbite. I'm still in TV mode, guys, so you look for context and nuance. I just look for what would play good for a 15-second soundbite on television. Was him just kind of talking about when he first got here, the offensive line was in shape and getting after it, and now they're back to that. So that to me was the sort of thing that stood out. I guess maybe Rick Trickett wasn't his favorite guy, perhaps, when he was first here. Maybe he's learned to appreciate that, or at least he kind of realized what looks good and what doesn't look good.
You basing that on the fact that he quit the team?
Yeah.
It's a strong deduction there. What's weird about that is, we've heard people complain about FSU's offensive line coaches for every reason under the sun. Like Trickett was too much of a taskmaster. Greg Fry was too demeaning. Sometimes some people said. Now we're hearing that Clements wasn't tough enough, and Alex Atkins has more tough love. I mean, it's just like at some point somebody's got to play football. So I get what you're saying, and I think Alex Atkins is a good offensive line coach. but it's like, it's like the Goldilocks here. We got to find the coach that's just right. I don't know what they're looking for.
Come on, you had to be a little fired up listening to Baselli today, Ira. I mean, it was the way he talked about Atkins, the way he talked about the techniques and the learning. You could tell. I mean, he's fired up, man. Like you said, do yourself a favor. I'm going to put this link in our if you're in our chat, I'm going to put the link to his video. If you watch one video from today, I would say watch Baselli's. It'll get you fired up about the offensive line, which is kind of hard to do these days. But he gave a couple times referred to, kind of not trying to throw the prior coaching staffs under the bus, but you could tell he's totally bought in to Atkins, and it sounds like they have a really good attitude going into practices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna guess if we took a poll of the fan base, most of them would be in my camp.
No, you're right. I mean, it's my thing is it for a lot of people, it's probably frustrating to keep hearing about these differing levels of, oh, Jimbo is too complicated. Oh, Willie's making it easier on us. Oh, now it's hard again. But I've always been of the belief that it needs to be quite complex. It needs to be quite difficult. Or else you're not going to get to where you really want to be if you came to Florida State. So I'm kind of encouraged by the sort of return. The pendulum has kind of swung back to maybe we all kind of look around and realize, oh, yeah, Corey pointed out so many times after losses about, this isn't why guys came to Florida State. Like, they can't be happy with what they've been doing. So changing sort of has to be sort of embraced. So that's what I would hope. That's what I would hope.
I think the strength coach is the biggest deal as any of them.
Okay.
Obviously Atkins can teach technique, and that's important, but the other guys could too. It's not like Randy Clements has never coached an offensive lineman before. It's not like one of us four going out there and doing it. Greg Fry could do it. He did it at Michigan, and heaven knows Rick Trickett's been doing it his whole life. It's not the technique and teaching technique that's important. It's strength. That's a big key. And then also, experience, talent. It's a lot of things that the Florida State line has said the last few years.
All right, let's I'm telling you, I turned the phone line back on after 5 minutes, and there's like 4 missed calls, and they just dropped. There's like 4 missed calls from Gator Kirk, and then the person that comes through wasn't Gator Kirk.
Keep fighting, Gator Kirk.
Come on, Gator, you got time to get in.
Show the toughness, show the want to, and it's not. But let's take whoever this is. Welcome on in to the Warchant.com happy hour. You got Gene, Ira, Corey, a whole bunch of Florida State fans listening to you. Who's this?
This is no fan from South Florida.
Oh, all right. There we go. Long time subscriber, Warchant.com. Again, the guy who's on the right side of history, Xavier Lee Camp. Appreciate you.
Yes, that would be Team Xavier Lee until I die. Well, at least until Virginia, Wake Forest 30-0. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
How y'all gentlemen doing today?
Doing well.
Good.
Hanging in there, buddy. Hanging in there.
Thanks for asking.
Oh, well, first thing I would say, first things first, I want to give a very early happy birthday to a fellow Leo, and that is y'all boss, Mr. Gene Williams. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday.
Yes, that is coming up. I try to forget those, but thank you very much.
What are you going to be, 40, Gene?
I mean, hey, look, you know what? My birthday was last Sunday. I just turned 38. I'm not 40 yet, but, you just got to just enjoy what you can, Gene.
Us Leo, you snuck in. You're a Leo as well, right?
Yeah. My birthday was Sunday that passed.
All right, man. Happy birthday to you. Happy belated birthday.
Enjoy
thanks.
Enjoy your 38. Enjoy your 30s.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm trying to. But a quick question. I'll be honest because of work and whatnot. I haven't really been on the website or on Warchant.com for a while. But I'm pretty sure that y'all talking about practices, but I did take a look at the schedule, and I was a little disappointed that UF wasn't on there. I'll say this: being from South Florida, I'm supposed to hate Miami. My dad's a Canes fan and all that stuff, but UF is I dislike Miami. Don't get me wrong, but UF was that was the game that ever since I was a little kid.
Absolutely.
Ever since I was a little kid, I remember the Choky Dog. I remember the 96 game, the 97 that broke my heart, the 98 Peter Ward to Ron Dugans. I remember all that. And
Florida's you hate Florida more. Just say it. Just say it. You hate Florida more. It's fine. It's okay. I'll embrace you.
But actually, you know what? There's with that, there is a couple of questions that was racing through my mind when it came to that. When it came to UF, I'm pretty sure that Gene, Ira, and a historian, Mr. Corey Clark, would know. What was really the story about FSU and UF and them playing annually? And also, if you know, what was the real story with FSU being independent, and was it SEC, was it ACC, did UF keep them out of it? Because I hear stories from both sides and people saying that, oh, yeah, I got like inside info, and they tell me one thing or the other.
Corey, we'll do Mythbusters. Corey, let's do some Mythbusters. First off, did the SEC want Florida State?
Ask Gene.
Gene, did the SEC want Florida State?
Well, way back, are we talking initially? We're talking way back when Florida State joined the SEC.
1991, yeah.
The SEC had some interest, but the ACC, from my understanding, came out. And I'll tell you one thing to do, if you really want to get behind it, Bob Thomas, who used to write for the Florida Times-Union, did a really good series. I think you can still find it online. Went through the whole, it was like a 3-part series talking about Florida State and the ACC and the SEC and all that. He really does a great job outlining it. And if you really want to get to the bottom of it, I suggest finding that online to do it. But yeah, there was some interest, but obviously the ACC came in stronger, had the offer of the SEC. My recollection was kind of dancing around the whole thing, whether they were going to do it. It sounded like they probably were, but man, the landscape was so different back then. Basketball was driving the revenue back then in the early 90s. Football, the SEC wasn't what it was. I mean, the SEC was just a middling conference back then. Everybody doesn't really remember that. They were really nothing special back then, but basketball was a driving force at the time. It made sense back then at the end of the day. In hindsight, sure, had we known football was going to blow up with the revenues and the SEC was going to become what it did, sure, you could have done that. But I always thought at the time they made the correct decision going to the ACC.
I have a stat for you guys real quick. Florida State had as many top 5 finishes in the 1990s as the entire SEC combined.
Yeah, there you go.
So that tells you, and that it was Florida the whole decade. It was Tennessee for a little, like a tiny window, and Alabama for a tiny window, and that's it. Georgia did jack squat the whole decade. So did Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
Alabama wasn't very good at
LSU was FSU used to pace LSU.
LSU was terrible.
They were nothing.
They were terrible for the entire decade. So yeah, the SEC being this monster is a last 15. It's a Nick Saban development is what ended up happening. As far as the first time when Florida State and Florida started playing, that was a state legislature thing, right?
No,
it's
an urban myth.
Discussed, but that is an urban myth. There's never been legislation forcing the game. I think there was.
No, I didn't think. I thought it was legislators pressuring the Florida president to play the game. I didn't think it was like.
Okay, well, but there's some people who think there's actually a law passed. There was never any kind of law passed.
Oh, on this day in 1955, because then they'd be breaking the law this year.
Well, that's what people were asking, because that's been it's been discussed so much that people think that that's what the deal is.
All right, Knowles fam, appreciate the call.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, enjoy your evening. Don't drink too much because y'all are old men outside of you.
Only me, man.
No, he's right. We're all old.
But just to follow up on that question, though, I think they could have gotten the SEC back. The time Gene was talking about in the early 90s, they could not have back when the last time that FSU was flirting with the Big 12. At that point, the SEC, Florida certainly did not want Florida State in the SEC. And the feeling from the SEC was Florida State wouldn't bring in any more television market. They already have, or recruiting market, because they already have Florida. So as much as FSU, some fans would like to get in the SEC because of the money, it really isn't an option right now.
Yet they got 2 Mississippi schools.
Well, they're original.
They're already in.
There's a couple comments about this. Ray Pereira asked, wonder how the easy way out comment from Marvin will play out with Jamarcus Chapman. He, I guess, spoke to the coaching staff and decided to opt out. Chad Gibson asked, if a player does opt out, do they retain a year of eligibility? I mean, they stay on scholarship for this season or for this academic year.
Would that be like a medical redshirt, or how's the NCAA handling that?
That's my guess. My guess is they'll, look, the way they treat eligibility now, I'm sure they'll give them that year. I don't think they're going to hold it against anybody for sitting out because of COVID. But I don't know that it's officially the NCAA has addressed that yet. But my guess is the way they've leaned so heavily towards player benefits and things like that, I'm sure they'll keep the year of eligibility.
So do we think that Jamarcus is back in Rome, or you think he stays in Tallahassee?
Imagine days here if he's got classes.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to stay on scholarship
But I mean, I'm just assuming he was going to have online classes anyway. So he's still going to eat in the athletic dining hall.
He can.
Some schools haven't allowed it for the people that are opting out.
Well,
really?
I think Washington State just increases the stipend of their student athletes so they can eat somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, because I guess the whole thing is, well, if you're going to opt out,
it just defies logic. If you're going to opt out for safety, which is his right, but then to be around people in an indoor dining hall wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, but yeah, my point was that they're not going to reduce the scholarship package because they're opting out. They're still going to pay for all their meals. Like, he's not going to come sit in at the team meal.
But if he's opting out because he's worried about his health and safety, he can't then just say, I'm taking this time off until this gets out and I'm going back to Rome.
Well, he could go home, right? I mean, if he's taking online classes, I don't think they can force him.
But even if he didn't, even if he said, I'm taking this semester off, then he forfeits a scholarship?
I don't know. But I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, this is all.
I was going to ask Norvell. That was going to be my follow-up in that press conference, but he didn't seem all that keen on talking about it. So I just decided, we won't worry about that.
Well, I mean, the thing though is that they'll honor it this year, but there's scholarships are 1 year renewable, agreements. It doesn't necessarily mean that next season he would get it would be honored. So that's
it's a bad look to pull a scholarship on someone that opted.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that.
They want to stay, but I mean, maybe you can encourage them to go somewhere else.
They kind of remember a few years ago they kind of switched to where they're kind of 4-year deals now. Like the colleges basically have also, and I think Jimbo used to say, look, man, we're not, they're basically 4-year deals.
To me, it's a weird look if he opts out, but then stays in Tallahassee, eats where the other athletes eat, presumably rooms with 2 or 3 other football players, and goes to classes. Like, okay, that to me again, that doesn't really. I don't quite understand that.
Is he going to actual? I don't think any.
No, we don't know. We don't know. But if he's on campus,
actual in-person classes, I don't think they are. It seems like
it's a weird thing to opt out. Like if an NFL player opts out, he's not going to be at the team facility every day. He might not be in the city. But when a college football player opts out, but he's on campus rooming with 2 or 3 guys that are on the team, it's a weird dynamic. I don't know.
Well, the thing we just saw was at Washington State where the kids, they told them to clean out their lockers or whatever, and everybody turned it into this huge scandal that they were penalizing these kids for opting out. Yeah, I mean, it's all uncharted territory.
You're right about that, Ira. You are right about that.
Let's take a phone call. Welcome on in to the warchant.com. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Aslan, it's Gator Kirk.
He made it. There he is. He lives. Thank goodness. I'm worried sick about you. How are you, man?
I'm good. Where the hell did Corey go?
Get another beer.
Oh, well, all right. So
it's football season, Gator Kirk. Bring it, man. Football related. Bring it.
Oh, you want football related? I was gonna try to figure out who was gonna be the stud linebacker this year out of Ira, Corey, and Aslan, because some of you feel that you would be objectified if that'd be called stud.
Aslan's a stud.
I don't mind being objectified.
You can get on it as well, but I'm just wondering which one of you 3 would be the stud linebacker and wouldn't have some.
Corey's offended by it.
I think
I would definitely not be the stud. Nobody's called me a stud in anything, for anything.
Well, you're a stud stenographer, Corey. We just talked about how you're a stud stenographer.
Yeah, but y'all didn't call me that. You just said I was like a court reporter is what you called me. You didn't say a stud court reporter.
We didn't want to offend you.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't want to be objectified. This, look, this isn't an accident, but it doesn't mean that I need to be gawked at and objectified and called a stud.
Gene says he's fine being objectified.
I think Gene can play in space. Gene can play at both levels. He can play close to line scrimmage and then in space and in coverage. I'll put Gene.
I like the bandit. I don't know if I would be called a position. I think I like the bandit. What do you think?
The bandit's cool, man.
Yeah. Because maybe I'm thinking Smokey and the bandit. So that you want to be bandit.
Right.
That was simple, Gator Kirk. You got anything else that needs any big questions that need answering?
I tell you what, if you haven't signed up for this new deal on Warchant, you need to get in on it. I mean, mine expires sometime in December, so I'll be renewing them. But this deal you got now, that's the bomb. Here's my actual football question.
All right.
So with reports of them going to have limited contact and practice this year, how will that affect the on-field performance for the offense and defense?
Are they going to have limited contact? I figure, right now they're doing their split squats up. I imagine when we get into game week, they're going to practice the way they've always practiced.
What did Norvell say about that, Ira? Because he did say something about like the contact wouldn't be as much, or they'd have to be smarter. I don't remember quite how he phrased it, but yesterday I thought he said something about that.
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, but I remember that, Corey, something vague about that. But yeah, I guess that's something we'll have to flesh out. We talk to them later about kind of how they are reducing contact. So I don't know. I mean, if they are doing it, Gator Kirk, obviously, I think the number one thing is tackling. Obviously, that's a thing because you have to have contact to be able to tackle well. So we've seen tackling drop off. I think if they've gone over to like the pros, it's more thud and less full contact. So invariably, that would probably be what would suffer the most.
Let's just hope we get to that issue where like tackling is a problem.
Yeah.
Like we get to cover a team that has tackling issues. That would be awesome.
That would be anything new.
Well, yeah, it'd be right up. Yeah, they're gonna have blocking issues too.
I mean, what did the? I know it was only one day, but that day in full pads in the spring, I was up in the basket. I was covering basketball, so I wasn't there. Was there? How was the hitting?
I mean, there weren't a lot of like bone crushers, but it was physical. It's more physical at the line of scrimmage than anything else. Those guys were getting after it. Everybody else, it was kind of, what you'd expect. It was thudding, hold them up. It was, you hit them hard and then hold them back up so they don't fall down.
I'll tell you what, whatever. I mean, we'll see. But going back and watching Memphis, I thought their guys hit. I mean, they gave up big plays, but I thought their guys were really physical. They really hit. So whatever Adam Fuller and Mike Norvell were doing at Memphis, I think paid off with a physical defense. I mean, there were some big collisions in their game last year.
All right, G, we appreciate the call as always, man.
All right, I appreciate everything you do. As always, hit the thumbs up button and go Noles.
That's right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, man, take care.
You got these people trained, Aslan.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I don't want to be the guy always, pitching everything. My voice, I hate my own voice, so better to hear from somebody else. Let's see what's going on over on Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. This, I guess, maybe ties into the previous sort of topic with a few players opting out. Can FSU use those scholarships on transfers this season?
I can't.
Sudden.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Because if you have a guy with now the one instance where you can, like, is it with a medical red shirt? When a medical hardship, excuse me.
Yeah.
If a guy medically hardships, like the defensive lineman the offensive lineman that they announced in the spring was going to take a medical hardship. What's that?
Was it Christian Meadows?
Yeah, Christian Meadows. When that happens, the player stays on scholarship, but it doesn't count towards your 85, so you can open it up. I don't know if this would. The other thing about it, though, is the reality is Florida State's not looking to spend any more money. So, the idea of putting more people on scholarship, that's a lot of – it's every time they do it, it's another $40,000, $50,000. We're not sure the exact amount, but it's a lot of money in this fiscal time. So I don't think they're going to be looking to open up any scholarship spots right now.
Well, Ira, I will say, I don't know. I think it would be interesting if a lot of guys start opting out. It might put some schools behind the eight ball where they might need those extra scholarships. I'll tell you right now, if there's a Power 5 offensive tackle or something that's pretty good that wants to transfer to Florida State, I don't think they're going to go on the cheap. Sorry, buddy, can't put you on scholarship.
I agree with you there.
But it'll be, this is, again, one of those kind of like new things we're trying to figure out how they're going to do this. I mean, how do they handle the situation if a bunch of players from one school decide to opt out? School's going to say, like, look, we need to use those scholars. We need to bring some transfers in.
The guy that might be the first pick in the NFL draft is a quarterback at North Dakota State. And North Dakota State's conference today just said they weren't going to play football in the fall, and they might to the spring. Well, he ain't staying around to play in the spring when the draft will be in May. So, hey, I don't know what the area is in North Dakota. I don't even know what city North Dakota State is in. I'm going to guess.
Fargo. Come on, you know that.
Is it really? I didn't know that. I figured that'd be North Dakota. But either way, NDU, they need to make a call and get Trey Lance down to Tallahassee. What else is he going to do? Everybody else has got their quarterback situation all figured out, but he could come in and probably make an immediate impact.
I think they're talking about the MAC perhaps maybe pushing their season back, and they're afraid, the coaches are afraid that they'll get poached, their players, because they won't want to sit around and wait. So, yeah, I'll get on a plane. I'll go to Montana. FSU 91's out there. He probably has a depth chart of everybody that plays for Montana and Montana State Ready that's available. How about Scotty Wood asks us, guys, because apparently I think the boosters released, or the ticket office released, I guess their plan for this season, at least in terms of tickets. Which ticket package would each of you guys pick? Tech, North Carolina, Virginia, or Samford, Pitt, and Clemson?
Now, if I'm a Florida State fan, I'm picking the first three.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
You got the great Sam Howell coming to town. You can't miss that. That's going to be fun. You get the season opener. You get Norvell's first win, hopefully. I mean,
yeah, you get to see probably
a bench game on Virginia. Absolutely.
Yeah, you get 2 wins. Probably 2 wins, maybe 3, as opposed to one AA win, a loss, and then part of that gauntlet in the middle. So one of those gauntlet teams. I don't know if you want to watch that. The last time Pitt was in Doak, though, Ira, was 1980. Bobby Butler was a senior. Ron Simmons was on that team.
Now, I think you've said this before, and didn't people come back and say, no, they really played again in 82 or something?
You might be right. Yeah, you're right.
I think people
they did. Yeah, they did. They played 82. Back when Pitt was good, they played them. They did play him 82. I don't know why I keep thinking that was
what's funny, though, is I heard an interview with Tony. This is kind of interesting.
I even know the score. Without looking it up real quick, I think Florida State lost in 1982, 37-17.
Okay.
I can't remember that they played in Doak.
All right, Ray, man.
37-17, Pitt wins.
Is that right? Was it in Doak?
I can't find that quite as quickly.
Which one was the rain game, Corey?
I think that was it.
That was
it. They lost in the rainy game, 82.
Yeah.
So, but Tony Dorsett.
It was in Doak.
Tony Dorsett was on the ACC network yesterday, and they were asking him how those teams were so talented. He's like, well, first of all, we had 150 kids on scholarship.
Yeah, that helps.
So that improves your ratio. I mean,
do it back in the day.
I mean, good. Remember, because Alabama would have all these guys on swimming scholarship and stuff. That's where they came up with that rule where it has to count towards the school with the sport with the most scholarships, because they would have all these guys on swimming scholarships. But anyway, so because I was wondering when you did the thing about Pitt, I was like, how did they get Hugh Green? And I mean, how would they get all of those guys? Well, they had 2 or 3 football teams on one.
Yeah, they had a lot to choose from. But yeah, they must have been the school, that and Penn State, for the Northeast. Like any kid that was any good at Northeast. It's not like Pennsylvania. I know they're known for their quarterbacks in Western Pennsylvania.
Well, the other thing, when I went up to Youngstown to do that story on the Stoopses, the one thing you see of that area was when all those factories were going in that area, you had football was huge. I mean, they put out a ton of great prospects, but then when the factories all shut down and the coal industry died, they started moving to other parts of the country. So,
like Tom Cruise and All the Right Moves. Remember that? He was the cornerback for that.
Exactly.
That factory.
What an awful movie that was.
Don't say that.
Marcus
You like that one, Corey?
I loved it. Craig T. Nelson was the coach before he was.
He's coach. Yeah, not that he's typecast or anything.
Marcus Woodson's from Moss Point in Mississippi. That was one of the best programs in Mississippi, but after Katrina, all the job loss and everything, that place now no longer produces anybody. So crazy how that happens. Shout out to James B, though.
My man.
Coming strong. You get some theme music. You get theme music for that. Out riding jet skis in Pensacola Beach. That's not a bad way to spend Friday if you're not on the happy hour with us. We appreciate it. Let's see here. People asking about video. I think video actually just came down. We'll see if we can get it up on the website here somewhat. Travis, why are you being so sad and sullen, Travis? I know my question won't get answered, but what's up, guys, and go Noles?
Not much, Travis. Just answered your question.
Just hanging out. Would you call Tom Cruise a stud?
Well, he was in that movie.
Yeah, he was. He was a great corner. But then he wouldn't shut his mouth with a choke.
Wasn't she one of the teeny bopper actresses back then too?
Leah Thompson. She was the mom in Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I was a big fan.
One Swole Knoll, what's y'all's take on DB play? I hope they turn around and play the ball. We got to speak to 2 cornerbacks or defensive backs today. Corey?
I mean, Miko Dotson will turn around and play the ball apparently because that's what he does. I didn't realize he also had 4 picks his 1 year in junior college, had 8 one season in high school, and then had 9 and led the country last year. There are some guys that just have an innate ability to go make plays and not just bat a ball down or be close to a receiver who then catches it, but actually goes and catches it. Now, the competition level is stepping up a great bit, but at least he's proven that he can go make plays. And Akeem Dent, I'm telling you, I'm really high on that guy a lot. I think he's a really good player. Just I hope he's working every day with the hands, the jug's gone, just catching the ball.
He sounds kind of happy about being back at corner, just a little bit.
Yeah.
He's being sarcastic, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely happy to be a corner.
That's quite the competition there. I mean, they've got a lot of corners vying for 2 spots.
Yeah, which is good. Man. That's what it used to be back in the day here. Like, if you got on the field at all, you were awesome. Like, that's the only way you got on the field. You had to beat out really good players behind you.
I don't think there's a ton of competition at one of the spots.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but Samuel's got one of them, but the other one, there's like 3 or 4 guys vying for that.
Yeah, the nickel, and then what they're going to do. I mean, I think it's good. It's good for all of them. The kid coming in, DeMaury Tate, it'd be cool to be able to know how he was doing, what he looked like.
Craig Turner asks, freshman RBs. This is the second time he's asked it. He's really interested in the freshman running backs, apparently.
I think that. I mean, obviously, I think they're going to play. I mean, they don't have a lot of experience at running back. You have, I mean, Deontay Sheffield's the only guy that's really been here for an extended period of time. And then you got Jay Sean Corbin from Texas A&M, who I think we all think is going to be the starter, especially that Layburn's gone. And then you got a junior college transfer, LaDamian Webb, and then it's basically a bunch of freshmen. I think I know you guys talk up my man, what's his name, the Tofili a lot. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of the kids, Jakari, what's his name?
Douglas.
Douglas. I mean, Jakai Douglas. I wouldn't be surprised if he. I mean, I think those guys are all going to get a lot of the bats. And I mean, I think we've talked about it before. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure out ways to use all of them. Norvell sounded pretty high about the running backs today when we talked to him.
Deontay Sheffield, we keep forgetting about him. I know he's not a freshman, but good option.
The guy with experience.
Yeah, he almost won them the Sun Bowl.
Shane Gibbs, how worried are you guys about recruiting, and has Odell lost his recruiting touch?
Good question. Ira, can you just write a story just on this so we can...
Weekly. I mean, it's one of those things that everybody's kind of focused on right now. They don't have any defensive tackle commitments, so people are freaking out a little bit. And I think the fact that when an assistant coach gets a little bit older, I think it's natural. Not to say that Odell is old, but he's been here for a while. So I get where people are concerned, but I just think when you talk to parents, players' parents, and the relationship they have with Odell, it's invaluable. I think that's going to be fine. I'm not as worried about that as I think a lot of the fans are.
Hey, we got a caller. What's up? Welcome on into the Warchant.com happy hour. Who's this? Where are you calling us from?
Hey guys, this is Mike from Ocala.
Mike from Ocala. What is going on? What's good, man?
Hey, so anyway, I've got a special request here. Personally, as a loyal and dedicated subscriber to Warchant.com, and in honor of the first day of practice for the team, I would like to request that you guys sing the fight song for all the fans out there listening.
Mike, what are we doing, Mike?
What are we doing?
We want people to stay tuned in and watch the show, buddy.
Mike, you got to add just a few more beers in. Corey's on 2 ultras, but he probably needs about what is the over under there in the ultras, Ira, for you to start singing? About 12?
Yeah, 10 probably.
You gotta fight for FSU. You gotta scalp them. I know that I don't want to look at my monitor because you think I'm like reading the lyrics off there. I know it in my head. You got to win this game, roll down and make those goals. For FSU is on the warpath now, and in the battle end, she's great. So fight to victory, the Seminoles of Florida State.
Boom.
You spell it out, and then you go woo at the end.
That's how it works.
That's
nice. Hey, we did it, Mike. You're welcome, buddy.
We did it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I didn't really have a football-related question, but I know everyone's real excited about the start of practice. I watched all the interviews. You guys doing a great job, and looks like the team is ready and locked in, and seem like they're just ready to play and ready to get out there and have a good time. And listen to what the coaching staff has to play. And I haven't really commented on the coaching staff yet, but I'm super, super thrilled about these guys. And I just feel like, you know, they're going to be the group that takes us to the next level and where we need to be. So go Noles.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right, Mike. Good job.
Have a good night.
So, Aslan, did you learn as a student or did you learn it in support of Willie the last 2 years?
Yeah, it was at the end of the games before I was going to those great press conferences full of energy. I wanted a little pep, so I'm going to the end zone. And but a lot of people want Norvell to keep that as a tradition. We'll see if he does. Maybe this is James B on his jet ski in Orlando. Otherwise, if you're in your car, can you put up your window? Maybe who's this? Who's calling us? Where are you at?
Oh man, this is Jay from Daytona Beach. Can you hear the background?
He is at the beach.
Yes,
what's up, Jay?
Jay? It's okay though. Quick, this will put you on the clock. What's on the clock, man?
Hold on, let me try to fix this.
You're good.
No, it's fine, Jay.
Is that better, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, making a food run. Hey, listen. First of all, it's Leo season. Happy birthday, Gene.
Thank you. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
My question is, you know, when I was watching Memphis, because, you know, I watch all of college football, just not Florida State, I noticed that they, you know, do all the little things right. And, you know, past couple of years, we've been known to do, like, all the little things wrong. So,
And most of the big things.
Just that within itself, that should be enough to make you know, significant strides. But speaking of the running backs and somebody who maybe didn't do all the little things right, and this is from a pure football standpoint, I guess aside from the character issues, because it seems like he just got eligible like a few days ago. If Zakondre White was still on the roster, how do you guys think everything would shake out at that running back position?
That's a good question. He was really talented. He was one of those guys, kind of like Kalen. One of those guys that has a big personality. People liked him. It wasn't like he was a malcontent, but it was also, you know, it seemed like coming in grades were a concern. The grades were a concern, you know, when he was here. So it was just kind of like there was always an issue. You know, he's just one of those guys. There's always something kind of holding him back. But no, he's definitely talented. I think you could make a case he's more explosive than anybody that's going to be carrying the ball this season, I would think, other than maybe Corey Wren.
I think the question, though, is if Zaquandre was still here, would Corbin be here? Because the depth chart would have looked differently. It would have looked different. If you're bringing in four other freshman running backs and you have Laburn and you have another guy, he might have been like, okay, I'll go try him.
Corbin was an FSU guy. He really wanted to come back, I think.
So you don't think that would have been like the depth chart, having another former 4-star dude experienced on the roster might not have.
He didn't even know that Mike Norvell had a really good rushing attack in Memphis.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. It just was all about the Hassie. I got it.
The white numbers are back, so he came back to Tallahassee.
Where is Zaquandre, by the way? Where is he now?
South Carolina, I think.
Is that where he went? Okay.
Yeah, he's at South Carolina, but apparently his grades just posted like a few days ago, and he just enrolled on the 6th. So he seems to still have a little bit of those, you know, academic issues following him. But he was the number 1 running back in JUCO, though. So
yeah, no, I know he did really well at JUCO.
All right, Jay, was that it?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Look at that.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man. Good to hear your voice, buddy.
Jay, it's all love. You know that, right? It's all love, right?
Absolutely.
All right, man.
All the time.
Appreciate you, man. Go Noles.
All right, go Noles.
My guy, man. It's my guy. I'm too hard on him sometimes. I apologize. Also, the Coach T out in Tampa, I wrapped him up one time, and I think he hasn't called back in like a week and a half, so a little bit concerned about that. I'll get better at being more delicate at things. Let's go back to the tribal council. Rowdy Knoll, he's from my neck of the woods, Pinellas County, but now he's in Connecticut like a sellout. Over under 5 games get played this season. Discuss.
Always going for the over. Always going to be optimistic.
Yeah, I'll be optimistic. If money was actually on the line, it'd be a different answer, but I'm being optimistic and I'm saying over. I'm saying way over. I'm saying double that number. I'm going way over.
For Florida State, let's see, you got 13, right? So you got the ACC championship and you got the bowl game.
Well, probably a playoff game and then the championship game, so 14 games.
Lake Jackson Birdman, what is the likelihood that the Jefferson Epps Trophy awarded at the FSU Virginia game is canceled? The trophy created by FSU President Sandy on birthday St. Virginia.
I forgot about that trophy's history.
Remember when they? I think they won it one year, or
it was
Virginia,
11. It was 11. Yeah.
And like nobody could find it. Like,
nobody knew where it was. It was in an equipment closet somewhere in Moore. So that's how much it meant to him. It wasn't on display next to the crystal balls and the Heismans. The nonsensical Jefferson Epps thing.
Even before
it started.
He said they started as a way to try to I guess unite Florida State and Virginia because of Epps' relationship. That's certainly not happening anymore. So
Virginia gets to keep the trophy permanently now.
Yeah, they can.
It's fine. It's the only trophy in their trophy case. It's the only thing they've ever won.
Walk into their athletic room and it's displayed with lights on it.
The great history of the Jefferson Epps games.
FSU 91 on brand, on time, has already scouted out the University of Montana for a potential offensive lineman. He says it's this guy, Conlon Beaver.
Conlon Beaver.
Look at that, 6'5", 301. He looks preseason All Big Sky. Phil Steele, 14 preseason All American. He's from Virginia though. I don't trust anybody that plays in Montana that's not from Montana. It's not the way it should be. Not the way
he was a late developer, man. Maybe Montana, the Grizzlies were the only one that saw the potential in him.
Maybe you want to go hunt.
Maybe he didn't want to go.
You want to go kill some bears.
Skyman asks, is it true that Coach Johnson thinks Toafili is a special back? We haven't spoke to him yet, but we know Dillingham was the guy, right?
Yeah, Dillingham was when we talked to him back in a pre-spring, back when we thought we were going to have a full spring practice. Yeah, he was glowing about Toafili. He was he thought he was going to be special. So I mean that's a good sign. We'll ask Coach Johnson. Hopefully we'll get him on here at some point in the next week or so.
Very well. Let's see what else we have here. God, there's so much stuff going on. There's also not a lot going on. James B thinks that in the interviews I've seen, I don't think Norvell is throwing away the season by any means. Whoever wins the top of quarterback is going to be the person that starts against Georgia Tech.
Well, yeah, that's true. And, we haven't touched on it, but it couldn't set up any better for them to have those two games. It's literally the two worst teams on the roster, theoretically, going by last year. So when was Taggart? I mean, Virginia Tech wasn't great that year, but it was Virginia Tech. It was Bud Foster, and then then Boise State. Just imagine just getting Georgia Tech and Samford to start the season at home. Not that matters right now. But to start 2-0 would be such a big deal for this program, man, just to feel good for a couple of weeks. Right?
I agree 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think starting strong and finishing strong are really important for a first-year head coach. And I think, I know everybody's upset about the 4 opponents with a bye week, but I think you'll take this trade-off for the way this laid out.
All right, folks, a reminder, the promo code Norvell2020 expires on August 15th. If you're not a member of the Ultimate Sunday Sports Source, join us now. Somebody DM me, by the way, Gene, can they renew and use this, or is this for new subscribers?
This is for new subscribers. We'll hopefully have some stuff, hopefully later in the year coming out for subscribers renewing some deals. But this is just for new subscribers. Or if you canceled, I think you can get it on this.
There we go. Or, just use a different credit card and start a different account maybe. Maybe that's the loophole workaround. Sorry. 25% off an annual membership, $25 gift code to Garden and Gold. So no matter where you're at, if you're not in Tallahassee, it's fine. You can use it and get yourself maybe a white shirt or a Garnet jersey with white numbers, and then 3 free bonus months on top of that. And you'll get all the great content that we're producing over at the website. We're doing this all again tomorrow. Not this, but speaking to coaches and players, right, Ira?
Yeah, well, tomorrow morning and then again afternoon, they have these split squad practices for the first 3 days. So we'll have 2 more days of this, like an early morning interview access for the players that practiced in the morning. And then we get Norvell and some other people in the afternoon. So I think tomorrow is 10:30 in the morning. So if you check the site around 10:30 or 11, you'll see Corey's fast and furious updates. This is the problem, man. You've set the bar so high, I can't even fill in for you anymore.
It's going to be noticeable. It's going to be like, why is there only 9 words for the North Conference?
Like when I used to do it before you even joined the site, like I felt pretty good about my recaps of press conferences.
I'll be honest with you, Ira. If I'd have gone back and read any of those recaps, I would have known what was expected, and I might have calmed it down a little bit.
But now
that I've already started this, it's hard to get off. Hey, by the way, before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, have a drink, point up to the sky, whatever you have to do for Michael Ojo. That was awful news. Yeah. He was a great kid, a great person to talk to. It is just such a tragedy at 27. That guy was larger than life, literally and figuratively, really, but just was an awesome guy to talk to. One of my favorite Seminole basketball players that ever came through. Just a gentle giant, like a big teddy bear, but built like a pro wrestler. And that was just awful news. I'm sure Leonard and Stan and everyone else associated with the program is heartbroken because that guy was that. You saw it on Twitter. Trent Forrest. Oh, there you go. There's Michael Jennings. Trent Forrest and Dwayne Bacon and everybody else offering their thoughts and sharing their thoughts on Michael Ojo. So not to end it on a bad note, but
ended on a bad note. Way to go, Corey. This is why you're not a producer. This is why you're stuck writing out updates word by word.
Yeah, you're right.
You got a good story or anything, like a favorite memory about covering Ojo? Any of you guys, to carry us out on a high note? I mean, it was always I would watch him on TV, and it was always like the shoe size segment. Like no matter who they played, what channel they were on, it was always like Michael Ojo wears like a size 19 shoe or whatever. But
I think the coolest thing, and it's not really a story, it's not an anecdote necessarily, but he might have been the single worst free throw shooter I'd ever seen in a basketball game. Like, no, I'm not done yet. So his hands were the size of basketballs. So it would be like you trying to aim a tennis ball. I mean, it was just really hard, and he was terrible at it. And Leonard would always say, in practice, he makes them all the time. But he would get nervous because he didn't want to let his teammates down. Well, his senior season, he led them in free throw shooting. The team that finally broke the streak and got to the NCAA tournament that had three NBA players on it. Well, 4. Terrence Mann was on that team too. It had 4 NBA players on it, and Michael Ojo, the career 44% free throw shooter, shot like 81% and led them in free throw shooting. That was just awesome. It was cool that the way he worked at it and became good at it.
Just talking to a few people today, I mean, I've heard some amazing stories about, while he's playing basketball in Serbia, halfway around the world, he would, anytime like an equipment manager graduated from Florida State, he would like record a video and send it to him, thanking him for all the work they put in when he was not even asked to do it. He just would do it. Calling, everybody on this. It was just one of those people. It's almost like too good to be true. And when you talk to him at the time, you felt that way, which I hated. But that's why I hated the shoe thing, Aslan, because it was like that became how everybody knew him. It's like, man, this guy, like, if he wasn't playing basketball, I mean, he majored in international affairs. He got his master's degree in international affairs. If he wasn't playing basketball, I really think he would have gone on to just do unbelievable things in any industry. So it's just tough. Yeah, the people at the basketball facility today, even if you didn't know Michael Ojo, if you know Leonard Hamilton and Stan Jones and CY and all those guys, think about them because they're having a tough time right now.
Thanks, everybody, for watching today. Ray, James, everybody who called in and also gave us a tip. Gator Kirk.
Good job, man.
Representing the 757.
Again, stick with the website. We'll have plenty of content coming up tomorrow. Also, Sunday, a basketball recruit's going to commit and probably maybe coming to Florida State, maybe having the #1 class. So good time to be at Knoll. Use the promo code Norvell 2020.
Hey, Aslan, you get to keep that $10, buddy. That's yours. Since you did the fight song, you keep it. That's
all 100% to you. We'll tell YouTube they should take their cut on that one. You should get all of it.
Yeah, you get all that, buddy.
Look at these guys I work for. Luckiest man alive. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate you.
Good night.